My name's Conrad Molleson, and I'm an artist. I'm a creative artist, and I'm from Edinburgh. I'm very lucky to have work both here within the community and also out there in an international capacity. I work predominantly with music, and I also work with visuals. I enjoy working with others. I do a lot of collaborating. I guess you're only as good as your last gig. And the best one's the one you're about to do. So the last one, I was working with Claire Lamond, who's a fantastic animator. She works a lot with stop frame. So we're working on a number of animations with young people with autism. And that's a really interesting way of getting them to get engaged in the creative process and in so doing understanding your own creative process. Kind of like facilitating, but there's an artistry within that, or at least I like to think so. And it's hugely enriching and actually does help pay my rent, which is quite handy when you're a creative artist, especially when it comes to the end of the month. Yes, there's a lot of variety in my work as well. As I say, I'm working a lot with sound, with music, with pictures and with images. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of grey areas in between there, and maybe that's what I'm most attracted to. Some might say that actually the danger is in becoming a bit of a generalist. If I was pushed to it, I would say my gig is as a double bass player. So I get to play a lot of gigs, both here and abroad, which is hugely satisfying because, again, I get to collaborate with other fantastic musicians, a lot of folk musicians. But sometimes just playing, local bars around Edinburgh and Glasgow and Dundee and elsewhere. I've been doing it for a long time. I think I've been playing with bands for over 25 years probably, and I'm looking forward to continuing doing that. But like I say, there are other interests. I always travel with my sketchbook, and from recording stories on the road, I've then used these to then illustrate pictures, to create animations, make cartoon strips. We made a very fun app which was a combination of geology and music, which we called Rock Opera. That's fun. And we were working a lot with cycling development, again using creative outputs to try and encourage people to get more into cycling and sustainable transport. That's an ongoing project which, well, it's like the bike, it just keeps going. So yeah, after all that, I think what is interesting is, again, collaborating with other animators and taking that creative vision, but then taking it with other art forms, taking somebody's music and putting images with it, and then controlling the movement to actually direct what people see. And that's really exciting. So looking at ways that we could create animations in order to get, for example, music that maybe doesn't get as widely heard. I'm thinking folk music primarily, jazz, love my jazz music, and I think there is a place for it out there. I mean, what's interesting, I guess, again, because of organisations like Creative Edinburgh and certain other networks, is that you realise living in Edinburgh is it's a real asset. I mean, we've got the biggest arts festival in the world. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's because it is a place where you can bump into people in the street, not once, but twice, but you can bump into them again, and you can develop those relationships. Some people say it's like living in a small town, but actually having come from here, I believe it's a bit more like a big village, and that's got its upsides and its downsides. Yes, everybody knows, what's going on in the village gossip, but it also means that you maybe try and nurture and respect some of those relationships and build on them. And hopefully that allows you to grow and to actually attract more creative energy into the city. That's my feeling on it. It is about sustainable growth. Yeah, it's an interesting time and it's an interesting challenge. But I think, again, you work with other people that you really believe in what they do, and if they believe in you, then you can create great things.